Good evening, everybody. How are you? Ray Funds here again. So first off, let me start off like I did last time. Very important. I'm not an ASE certified mechanic. So you know, I do mechanics as a hobby. So anything you're going to try to do on yourself as a do-it-yourselfer, make sure you do a lot of research. Be very careful. Safety is paramount. So that goes beyond first and anything. For any of those that need any help, I figured there's a million brake jobs out there, but I don't know if there's many on my Infiniti 2014 Infiniti QX60. Like my other video, I'll just recap that this job should most probably work for like a couple years prior, a couple years forward. This is the Infiniti QX60. In 2014, 2013 was a JX35. I would think maybe 12 would maybe work as well, and then like I said, beyond 14, maybe 16, potentially 17, 18. But again, do your own due diligence and research on that just to make sure. Today we're doing the rear brake pads. I already did one tire because once you do one side, it's the same pretty much. So what are you going to need? For this job, you're going to need, for your tire bolts, you're going to need a 21 millimeter cube with a ratchet, or you could use the actual ratchet that comes with the jack, which is right here with your jack, or again, you could use like what I do, 21 with ratchet. Very important, if you don't have one, you don't need it, but I recommend it, a breaker bar, just easier on your back. I'm already an old man, so using this takes so much strain off my whole body, including my back, so I recommend it. And then the only other thing you're going to need is another ratchet with a 14 millimeter, which is to release the caliper, and obviously you need the brake pads. So what are we getting? Well, first and foremost, I'm doing this on a slight little hill because I'm doing it on my driveway. So, you know, I always recommend a flat surface. I've been used to doing this already many times, and like I said, safety is paramount, so I take extra precautions. Another thing I'm going to recommend is, first off, before you do anything, park your car straight, set it up. But what you should do is always try to go ahead and put some blockers on your tires, some bricks. If you notice here, I'm going to put a brick now on this side. Okay, you can see here my trusty brick. Put it here, just to make sure that we keep that car from moving forward. We're gonna go ahead and do this side right now. So let me go ahead and bring my equipment over, and I'll be right back with you. Hey guys, so what we're gonna need for this job, very important. We're gonna need the jack. You can use the car jack, or if you have another jack, you use a car jack. You're gonna need a 21 millimeter cube to remove the tire bolts, or you can use the actual bolt remover that comes with the jack. I recommend whichever one you use. I recommend the breaker bar. This really takes strain off your back. It's recommended. I'm an old man, so this really helps out keep everything still running smooth. Like I said, a ratchet with a 21 millimeter for the tire bolts, or you can use the one from the jack and with the car. You're gonna need a C-clamp. You're gonna need a small little flathead, and you're gonna need another ratchet, or the same ratchet but with a 14 millimeter cube. Jack stand, because just like I said, we want to go ahead and block your tires. You're going to want to raise your car, but you're going to want to also reinforce it with a jack stand. Can never be too safe. Safety is paramount. Car falls on you guys, there might not be no coming back from that. Alright, we're going to get started. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get these out. This is what I was talking about here. We want to go ahead and get this in here. Once you get this in here, if you get a breaker bar, just makes life that much easier. Makes life that much easier. Doesn't take so much strain on your back. It's loose. All right, perfect. So now we'll go ahead and finish removing these. Oh, got some freezing over here. All right, make sure they're loose. Oh, this one's not loose. Yeah, it is. Loose. Perfect. Let's go ahead and jack this puppy up. Now, so you see these two imprints right here? This jack is supposed to come right in between those two imprints to pick up there. So you'll bring this up here, and that's where the money's at. Make sure it goes through. There's a little hole in the middle of the jack that lets you make sure that comes in. So that is perfect, and there you go. Now I'm gonna jack this puppy up. This jack is pretty easy to use. It has a T a T-bar, I guess, where you basically just come into the hole there, and then you clip the thing at the end, and you just go in circles. Just go in circles. Makes your life a little bit easier. Granted, I mean, there's a million better jacks out there, but got to work with the scraps you were given, like Tupac said. You know, don't ever over exaggerate. I mean, the car's got to get up so the tire gets loose. So you don't need to go too high after the tire is cleared. Tire is clear there. Before I start working on that, I'm gonna work with my jack stand right now. Again, safety's paramount. So now I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna find an area here where I can reinforce. And I'm gonna go right here on this ridge. I like this ridge really much. Now I see that I need a little bit more. So I will go ahead and raise this a little bit more. Almost there. As you can see, it's not that difficult. Almost. Okay. So I cleared that. Now you're going to come down a little bit. Let me get comfortable. Keeps coming off. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the jack down to where the car touches the jack stand, so that the jack stand's helping the jack hold this puppy up. There, almost. There it is. Jack stands holding, jack is holding, tire's still loose. Alright? Safety, guys, important. Now, let's get this thing right here. If you have a gun, great. I actually have one, but my compressor's upstairs because I've been doing my vinyl floors, and I'm not going through that mission to go up there to bring that thing down. And since it's only a small job, it's okay. This is the way I did it growing up anyways. Shout out to my director, executive producer, and recorder behind you, my beautiful daughter, Caitlin. Say hi if you want to, baby. It's your choice. Alright guys, so I got the tire bolts out. Tire's coming out. Perfect. Go ahead and put the tire to the side. Obviously you have your rotors. My rotors are still pretty good. You know, if you're gonna change the rotors, that's a whole different video. I'll do one when I need to, but these rotors, they still have life. I don't let the pads go beyond, you know, beyond its potential that I understand I gotta change them, which I do take them to the end, by the way, but they're not really scratching. They still have life. You could, by the way, if you take them off and you want to save money, you could take them to a machine shop and cut them. But nowadays, they make these things supposedly very thin that I don't even know if cutting is still a common practice. But again, guys, do your own research on that. Here are the calipers. What I want to do is I want to remove this caliper to get to these brake pads. These are the brake pads. And what you're going to do is you're going to see on this side where you have your brake connect, right? Where your brake connect is connected. You're going to remove this bolt right here. This is a 14mm bolt. And you're going to see me come in here right there. It's a 14mm bolt. So now I'm going to put the phone down for a minute. I'll make sure I got this on the right side. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. And now I'm gonna whack this a couple of times, try to get it loose until it gets loose, and there it is. It's loose. That's one way to do it. You know, you can use a wrench that's wide enough at the end to, you know, leverage yourself, kind of like the breaker bar, or if you have a smaller breaker bar, whatever's easier for you. That's really not that bad. All right, guys, I'm back. I'm sure you noticed I struggled a little bit here, and just for those, if you want to know how I took it out, I basically just kept swiveling with the ratchet and with my hand and jerking it back and forth till it got loose. For those of you who don't know, I towed my boat with this into salt water, so you know, you can see where the salt is doing its thing, because sometimes when I back up I get a little bit of salt in here, and obviously there's some corrosion on this nut here, some rust, so he was seizing in there a little bit, as you can tell. So I'm going to lubricate this bad boy before I put him back in. But, you know, if you do come across something like that, you just got to jerk it a little bit, play with it, jerk it, and eventually it comes out, just like this one did. So, that one's out. Next step is get your flathead, little flathead you have. And now what we want to do is, we want to go ahead and remove these calipers, right? So you're going to come over here. You see this ridge here? Let me get my phone here, okay? You see this metallic ridge here? You're just gonna go right under it. Gonna go right under this, and you're just gonna softly jerk it, and you see it's moving, and he's going to pop out. There it is, caliper's out. And then your brake pads, you just basically swivel them out. See, they're in these little swivels on the top and the bottom. It's kind of they're not swivels, but they're like liners where you place them in and it lines them up to stay there. Take both out, the one in the back. Oh, and you're gonna see here, oh, do I like to take it to the end, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about get your bang for your dollar. Woo, woo. Now, the next step is an important step. However, it's part of a step that if you don't do what I'm about to tell you, you run a risk of damaging your brake system. You have to use this C-clamp to close this caliper. But before you do that, you need to come into your car, open your hood, and you need to open up your brake reservoir. Notice how I had already opened it. Should have mentioned this before. Typically when I am putting the brakes on the tires and when I do my edit, I'll make sure I mention that at the beginning as well. But you need to make sure you open up this reservoir, because as I push in those calipers, the pressurized system is going to push brake fluid back into this reservoir. Very rarely will it overflow. If it does, no worries. Just make sure that when you're done and you pump your brakes, you top it back off. But 9 out of 10 times it just pulls it up a little bit. You close it all up, you're done, and you got enough brake fluid. But nonetheless, we'll check that afterwards. But very important step before you start closing your calipers. Now, caliper closing. Simple job. Get yourself a nice little C-clamp. Okay. You're gonna put the back here. You're gonna put the back in the back of it. You're gonna get the front right over the C-clamp, and just go very slowly. No rush here. Like I said, you're pushing fluid back into a pressurized system, which is going back out to the reservoir. So you don't need to rush this. Just give it a couple little spins. Let it close up. Can you guys see this really good? Or is that better? So you just keep closing it up. Oh, let me just put this in. There you go. So let me get this back in. So again, you get this in, and you just keep very slowly turning it. Give it a little bit. Turn it again. Give it a little bit. Turn it again. Give it a little bit. Turn it again. Get a little bit. Turn it. We're almost there, guys. Turn it. And gals. I'm sure there's many young ladies out there doing this themselves as well. Very impressed. My daughter actually changed brakes with me in the past on the BMW. Shout out to Kaylin one more time, executive producer. And guys, as you see, there it is. Caliper's in. Caliper's in. That part is done. Now we're gonna get the pads. And you'll notice that the pads come with new, I wish I knew the name of this. But like I said, they align it. They align the pads to go in, right? So you're gonna remove the old ones. So how do you remove the old ones? Phone, please. You come here and you see this, and you're just gonna push this down a little bit on both sides. You're gonna push here and here. See, one side came out, the other one's gonna come out as well. Just push, boom. And there's the first one. First one's out. Same way you took it out. It's plug and play, guys. You're going right into this ridge here. Oops. You're gonna go right into this ridge here. Right into the ridge. And then you press up, and there it is. And you see, this is where the pad aligns in. Okay? Bottom one, same thing. You pull on this in here. So you see? See that? Boom. Get the back out. There it is. Grab the new one. Grab the new one. There's the new one. Same way. Plug and play. You know, bring it in. Oh, let me get this crap out of there. There you go. Bring it in. You're gonna let it drop right into that ridge. And push it down, and voila, that's done. And now you get your pads. Here's this pad, and here's this pad. And as you can see, they're pretty almost identical pads, with the exception that this one carries a marker. This is the marker that starts telling you, screaming when the pads are going bad, which if you notice, it'll probably leave you, I don't know how much life expectancy, but it basically starts making a squeaky noise on the pads, so that you know you got to change them. So you basically align and align, and it falls in. It'll be easier now for me to show you, but it's the same thing. You're gonna get the bottom part, and it's gonna go right into that alignment space, and then you're just gonna swivel in, and the other one's gonna come in. Now, do you notice here it's not going in? Why? Because obviously the side that is like oval versus this undercut is the one that goes here. See, they both fall in, and there they are. Pads are in place. Simple as that, guys. Woo, man, we're done. We close our caliper very gently and smoothly. Make sure that you get this. That is closed. Oh, we're gonna lubricate this a little bit. I'll be right back. I went ahead and loaded this puppy up with WD-40, but as you can see, even when I hit it, look how much corrosion and rust this has. This is why this guy got stuck in there. But you know, I mean, he's gonna come on. It is what it is. Salt does what salt does. You know, you get it in there. Notice now, he came in a lot smoother now. See that? With a little bit of WD-40, he came in like nothing. Let me hand tighten it, and now I'm gonna go ahead and finish tightening them up. And now, like I said, same way I took them off, I tighten them. And that is that. Make sure your caliper goes back and forth perfect. The pads are there, everything is good. And just for good luck, hit them a couple more times. We're good. So we are done, ladies and gentlemen. Now we'll put the tire back on. Well, actually, what I'm gonna do now, back up please, because to put the tire back on, I do need a little bit of more height since I brought it down to put it on the jack stand. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna raise this back up a little bit to make my life easier. Oh, bro, I'm changing a flat tire. But I'm done, bro. You know, you don't have to report me, please.
Hey, man, out of sight, out of mind.
Oh, I love that.
I didn't see
Comic relief here with my one of my fellow associates here. By the way, if you're into fishing, you got to check out his channel. Help me out, Hookset.
Southside Hookset.
Southside Hookset, guys. Follow that channel. Got some good fishing lessons on there. All right, so we'll leave the jack stand there. Bring the tire in. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, in case for those of you that probably didn't pick up on that, he's the rover, great guy, but obviously you're not allowed to do mechanics in this development. Why? I couldn't tell you, you know, I mean, but it is what it is, you know, associations, they pick their rules. I don't classify this as a major job. If I'm swapping motors or something, I get it, but you know, so nonetheless, I don't want to put them on blast, so you know, I'm changing a flat tire. This is the fun part, guys. Trying to find the hole. There you go. Patience, guys, patience. Patience always gets it done. So it's good to screw them in by hand. Make sure that you're not you're not jumping a thread, I'm sorry. And then they went in smooth. And let your tire flatten out in the back the way it's supposed to. And then once that's done, before you put the jack down, he's gonna turn, but it doesn't matter. Get him, make sure he's flat. Make sure you got him all the way to the back. Let it turn. Let it turn. There you go. Get it tight. See? See? Get it tight. So it's evened out, guys. Evened out. Boom. Perfect. Now we remove our jack stands. We bring it down. Perfect. Now we make sure we tighten this up right, because we don't want a tire falling off on our wives while they're driving. Use your breaker bar. Makes your life easier. Gives you good torque. Always go around one time, guys. Make sure you didn't miss one. Voila. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost done. The next step is to come here, close your brake reservoir, get the car started. Hopefully I have my keys. I don't know if I do. I don't have my keys. Let me get my keys. I pumped it one time. Did you guys hear it hiss?
Yeah.
That was the lines filling back up with brake fluid. So now that I turn on the car, pump it a couple times. Always pump it, guys. Listen, gentlemen's out there, all right? No bash for any of my women mechanics. I got love for you too. But gentlemen, because we got to teach them young and we got to keep them teaching, we got to keep the practice going. Before you let your wife or your daughters or your mothers get in this car, take it for a spin. If you're going to lose them brakes, you lose them brakes. Don't let them ladies lose them brakes. Now, if you're a female mechanic, I got nothing but love for you. You know what you're doing. Be careful. Seatbelts on at all times. we're good there. We're gonna check the reservoir, make sure that there's enough fluid. As you can see the mark, you come on this side, you can see the max on behind me, Jenny. Right here, look, right there. You can see the max line, and you can see that there's fluid up to the max line. We don't need to add, so we're golden. By the way, I gotta close this. I gotta close it in there. I'm gonna close it in there. Oh no, all right. So now. It's breaking, guys. Like I said, I'm gonna take it for a spin in a little bit, but other than that, we're pretty much done. Obviously the next step is to put away all the tools, and, but you're done, and that's a brake job. I want to thank all of you again for watching and subscribing. I know that there's not many mechanic videos, but I think there's obviously some that are relevant, and then you can have fun watching me do whatever else I do. I mean, it is what it is. The trend is right now, let your hair grow, not glow. Well, you can let it glow if you dye it, with some weird color. But other than that, we're good to go. Again, last time, you can never say enough. Safety's paramount. Always be safe. Don't get anxious. Don't be under a raised car. Always block your tires. Make sure your car doesn't move when while it's up. Make sure you have a safety net for if your jack fails. Other than that, again, I'm not AAC certified, but I do this as a hobby. I love what I do. Do what you love. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a good night, guys. And again, a shout out to my executive producer, Caitlin.